Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to The Main Thing. This is your new Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Hello and welcome to your Wisdom Podcast. I'm Skip Lineberg, and I'll be your host today, coming to you as always from Parkwood Studios, right here in Almost Heaven, West Virginia. I am excited for you to meet today's guest. He's a founder, an author, and a visionary community leader who just exudes kindness. When you listen to today's episode, you'll come away with tips and techniques for mastering your mind and ordering your day. Advice and tips on how to build a journaling practice and what it can do for you. Powerful insights about a mental habit that may be blocking you from your goals and dreams. Encouragement and perspectives on pursuing your big idea or your ultimate dream. That's a lot, but of course you will also discover the main thing Dr. Brad Lane has learned in his lifetime so far. Hey, for a transcript of today's episode, today's wisdom conversation, and a ton of additional wisdom resources, hop on over to our website, themainthingpodcast.com, after you've listened to this show. Also, as you listen, begin thinking about who you will share this episode with. Now, a bit more about our wise guest. Dr. Brad Lane is from Mullins, West Virginia, and the proud son of a coal miner. He earned undergraduate degrees from Concord University and his Doctor of Optometry from the Pennsylvania College of Optometry. Later, he completed an MBA and also a Master of Education. Today, Brad is a business and community leader who works as co-owner and operator of Appalachian Eye Care, a dedicated advocate for his profession. Brad has served in leadership roles with several optometry organizations and councils. He's also a published author with his newest book, which will be his second, titled Appalachian Sun, set for release in early March 2026. Brad is deeply committed to his community, serving as vice chairman of the Concord University Board of Governors and supporting multiple scholarships and charities. In his free time, he enjoys traveling, sports, golf, country music, and cheering on the Philadelphia Eagles. Brad joins us today from his home in Princeton, West Virginia. Step up into the exam chair and settle in. Over the next 30 minutes, you will discover why Brad Lane is one of the wisest people I know. Brad Lane, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast. It's so great to be on with you this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Skip. Good to see you, buddy.
Brad, I wanted to just start with how we're connected. That's one of the things that we try to take care of and help our audience understand who's talking to who and how do these two fellows know one another. Would you like to kind of start that story, and I'll pop in with a little color commentary along the way?
Absolutely. Sounds good. Yeah, so I guess it was September of 2024. You know, I run a business and I had been fairly stressed, and I had a good friend recommend that I go to a retreat, a mindfulness retreat that was focused on men. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this. And then one night I was pretty stressed out and thought, well, I'm going to go, okay, let me really look at this. So I booked it as soon as I could, so I couldn't talk myself out of it. You know,
I get it.
You know, it's like, let me go ahead and do this. So I head up to Randolph County in September and pull into the parking lot there, or the driveway. And I think I met you first. You were the first person I ran into. We had a great weekend. We threw axes. That was great. We had some really good food. And then we really dove into some mindfulness techniques and experiences, exercises. And you led our our journaling exercise. And I had never
Yeah,
journaled before.
journaling.
And that's
Yeah.
how I felt like we really connected there.
Kate Reed has been on the podcast as a guest. Valerie Hart, her partner with Wonder and Grow, has come on to share her wisdom. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the person that gave you the nudge to go ahead and sign up for this retreat, Brad, was one Veronica Lewis.
That is true. That is true. I'm not sure it was a nudge. I think it was more of a push.
Veronica was our most listened to episode of 2024. She came on and shared her wisdom, I think, to start off that year. And so she really lit up the Wisdom podcast for us that year.
She's great.
Folks will have heard in the introduction that you are an optometrist and eye doctor. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about your journey toward that profession.
I went to undergrad at Concord University. It was Concord College back then, back in the day. And I really wanted to major in psychology, sociology. And I was working a lot with my youth group at church. And, I wanted to help those kids out. There was a lot of problems that those kids were facing. So I really wanted to be able to just help them out. And then, so I started through those programs and actually completed both the psychology and sociology. And I figured out that I was taking their problems home with me. And I would not make a very good professional. I remember once I said, after I graduated and I was trying to figure out exactly how I was going to go about getting a job. I told someone, I said, these people need professional help. And they said, well, that's you. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if I can do this. So I did a little pivot and decided, I still want to help people, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. So I started to shadow different medical professionals, and I shadowed dentistry and pharmacy and primary care. But I went to the optometrist and I asked if I could shadow him. And that day there was no mistaking. In my mind, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The patients that he saw that day, the way he helped them was tremendous, and it lit a fire in me, a passion.
The caring for. Yeah. Whether that was going to be their brain or their teeth or their eyes, or in some way, shape, or fashion, you were going to be providing care to others.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, my life, someone's taking care of me, and I feel like it's just a way to give back.
That's awesome, and part of the Great Commandment, right?
It is. Yes, sir.
Loving on our neighbors. What do you love most about it today?
Most people, I think, when they go to the optometrist, they're going for glasses and contacts, and just to see better. And I don't want to say just to see better, but to see better. But oftentimes we find things that are on our exam that might not be expected when you go to the optometrist.
Oh,
they can be life-threatening issues. So actually, just this week, unfortunately, did an exam on a lady, and she had some symptoms that I immediately thought, oh goodness, this isn't necessarily just a vision symptom. I'm afraid she has multiple sclerosis. So MS. So we went through the proper channels, got some imaging, some referrals, and we're pretty confident she has MS. She didn't know that. She just thought it was a visual symptom of needing new glasses. And so that is a horrible thing to have to tell someone. Yeah. But I'm glad that she came in. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to help her and find this out now so that we can slow the progression. She can work with a neurologist and slow the progression. And it's those relationships that make it all worth it.
Tell us a little bit about your vision for branching out into other places in West Virginia, because I know there's more than just $1 behind the motive there.
Absolutely, yeah. So I should mention that fellow that optometrist that I shadowed, we eventually became business partners.
Awesome! Wow.
Yeah, so
you want to give him a little shout out here?
Yeah, Dr. Chris Hansen.
Yeah,
he let me shadow. Some little dumb college kid came in and said, "Hey, can I hang out a little bit?" And he said, "I guess." And then once I went to optometry school, I always wanted to come back and practice with him. I mean, you want to talk about someone who's selfless. just a good-hearted individual that cares about people. It's
Yeah.
Dr. Hansen. It's Chris Hansen. And so once I came back, graduated and came back, we went into partnership, or I joined his practice, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was very, very small practice, 2 employees. And we sat down and had a vision. We created our own little vision board and set goals. So, well, we're going to do this the right way. Patients are going to come in, they're going to have a great experience. We're going to love them. We're going to do what's right for them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, success happens. And so that's what we've done. And as someone new joins the practice, whether it be a new doctor or a new staff member, we instill that in them. That is our culture. That's what we want. And from that, we've grown to, we're at 3 locations now, looking at a 4th.
Mm-hmm.
We're up to 30 employees and 6 doctors, and provide care in Princeton, West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia, and then Giles County, Virginia.
Okay.
When we go in, we want to be part of the community.
Yeah, that comes through. I mean, I see that.
Yeah. I live in Princeton. One of our new business partners, Dr. Mackenzie Van Dyke, she lives in Beckley.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dr. Hansen lives down in Giles County, Virginia. And yeah, schools, we really like to get into schools involved with sports and clubs at the local high schools, middle schools.
Awesome.
We really enjoy that. We do have a couple of charities that are near and dear to our hearts. One is the Jonathan Powell Hope Foundation, and we've hosted a golf tournament for them. Goodness, I think it's like 17 years now, maybe more. But it's a local charity that helps families with the child battling cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've done some good work. Those folks have done some good work. We've just helped out a little bit.
Brad, one thing we have in common, in addition to our mutual friends and a love of wisdom and journaling, we're both published authors. So here we have Bradley Lane, The Professional's Daily Balance Journal. Mm-hmm. And you have written a wonderful tool that I use periodically. Dirty little secret, I have 3 journals that I use, and they're all like for slightly different purposes. But this book gives the reader, the owner, a prompt every day of the year for 365 days. So that what that does for me is on a day where I'm kind of like, man, I'm not sure I have anything on my mind or on my heart that I want to journal about today. I'll open up this journal, and there's a prompt on the top of that day that gets you started, and it just gives you something to respond to. Let's see, today we have February 20th. Let's go to that page, and I'll actually read the prompt for today is, what does the next step mean to you in your personal growth? Reflect on one area where progress feels both challenging and exciting. That's a cool prompt, because now my brain's turning. Now, it's in motion now, instead of being kind of locked and frozen on uncertainty or confusion. Now I'm focused and the wheels are turning. So that's the way that works.
Thank you. Yeah. Whenever you were teaching us the journaling process of sorts during that retreat, I had never journaled before. And,
oh gosh. Yeah. I remember now.
Yeah. And so you gave us some prompts, and I really enjoyed that. So, when I go home, I now have this empty notebook, and I'm like, well, where's my prompt? Where's Skip? It might be annoying if I called you every day or text you every day and asked for a prompt. I'm not sure. So I thought,
I'd be honored.
I'm going to write my own. I'm going to make my own prompts and just let it be. Let the Lord guide me, and I'm going to make it, and for a month out. And then I thought, well, this is handy, but there's other things that go into this, like some physical movement that helps your well-being, and go out for a jog and stretching and things of that sort. Yoga. And then I was like, well, there's some reminders I should put in here of, it's time to update my vaccinations. It's time to prepare for end of the year taxes. So I need to talk to my accountant. And so I started putting all that stuff into a book.
You've been doing it for a couple of years now. How does it enrich your life? Why do you keep doing it?
Yeah. I've been doing it now for about 2.5 years, I guess. And really, if I start at the beginning of the day and I journal early in the morning, it sets my intention for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I like to sit down every once in a while. I like to sit down and write out what my day is going to be like. I'm
Yeah.
forecasting the rest of my day, and I'm planning in my mind how it's going to go. And daggone it, you know what? A lot of times that's how it happens.
Funny how
Now,
that works.
it is. It is. And if I prepare for my day to be a good day, it's usually a good day. Now, there's things that creep in that I might not plan for, but that's okay. I'm prepared. I'm mentally prepared for any obstacles, And then at night when I journal, to me, that's a great opportunity to get all the junk that's in my head between these two ears out on a piece of paper, and it just free flows. I think of it like I don't know about you, Skip, but in my kitchen I have a drawer that I call it the junk drawer, and it has soy sauce packets and chopsticks and menus, and probably some matches.
Some random parking token.
Yeah, it's just rando stuff stuck in that drawer. And sometimes
keys that we have no clue what they're for.
Exactly.
Spare
but
keys.
You have to keep them, right? Because just in case.
Right.
And so every so often that drawer needs cleaned out. And
yes,
the space between my ears is the same way. Through the day, it gets cluttered with stuff that I don't need to hang on to. And so it's much like going over to the trash can and just hitting the side of my head and letting all that gunk fall out. Well, I put it all on the paper, and then I can sleep better that night.
Yeah, I imagine that's very freeing and clears it out and makes space for peace to come in, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. A lot of times too, I'll notice that I'm writing and about a worry or a concern, and I feel like I'm halfway through a sentence, and the Lord says, "Well, Brad, you don't have to carry this. I can carry it for you."
Oh, yeah.
And it's when I take that time to stop, be still, and just write that I feel like I connect more with God. When I wake up, I have a choice of what kind of day I'm going to have. I can plan in my mind, and I already have an idea in my mind what the day is going to be like. I mean, there's been plenty of times I wake up and I thought, oh, geez, today's going to be terrible. It's Monday, or I have the option to say, it's Monday. This is going to be a good day. And I just start to write. And I think, I'm going to get to see my patients. I'm going to get to see my staff. I'm going to get to experience this. I go ahead and plan out those things that make each day incredible. And a lot of that is by expressing gratitude.
192 extra minutes of wisdom. That's what you get when you become a patron of the Main Thing podcast. Many of you continue to say, we want to hear more from these wise guests. That's precisely what patrons of our podcast get. Exclusive access to bonus episodes called The Whole Thing. These 30-minute special shows bring you a deeper dive into our guests' wisdom. Less editing, more laughter. Less time limits, more stories. Unlock those 192 extra minutes of wisdom for yourself for as little as $9 per month through the Patreon platform. And when you become a patron, you also get access to wisdom essays, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and access to special patron-only wisdom gatherings. Head over to patreon.com/themainthingpodcast. Go unlock your 192 extra minutes of wisdom. Dr. Brad Lane, what's the main thing that you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my lifetime so far is that I find what I'm looking for.
Oh, wow. You find what you're looking for. Very cool. Very cool. So you're in defiance to U2 and Bono right there, who says he still hasn't found what he's looking for. I'm just playing. Tell him to look harder. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Brad, would you reveal all the nuance and meaning that's loaded in that concise, wonderful statement, we find what we're looking for?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's actually a neurological reasoning behind this. So
Okay.
there's this thing called the reticular activating system, and it's part of your brain. Actually, it's part of your brain stem, and it's a collection of neurons that basically filters out or filters in what it wants to, what you want to focus on, what you want to give your attention to. And it lights up, and your brain becomes aroused and aware of these things that are important to you. So when I learned that, I immediately thought of family vacations with my dad. So my dad was a coal miner, and he, I don't know if you remember, Skip, I don't know if it's still this way or not, but miners' vacation was 1 week when they just closed the mine down and everyone went on vacation at the same time. All these folks are going to the beach, Myrtle Beach, right? Well, not my dad. My dad said two things. He said, I see those guys all the time. I don't want to go to the beach and see them again. And I make my money in West Virginia. I'm going to spend it in West Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to support the local economy. But so we went to Moncove Lake over in Monroe County every year.
Okay.
Beautiful place. Monroe County is beautiful, and the people are awesome. But to a 13-year-old boy, might not be, for the 10th time, might not be the most appealing summer vacation.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but the other thing you should know about my dad is that he was a Ford man.
Okay.
So at some point he owned a Chevy, I guess, and it wasn't great, and he swore them off forever and hated them after that. So we would drive from Wyoming County, where I grew up, little town Herndon, to Moncove Lake, which means you go over Herndon Mountain, over to Princeton, in Mercer County, get on US Route 460, down into Virginia and back up into West Virginia. Well, inevitably there would be some cars or some vehicles broken down on the side of the road. You know, this is the 80s, and if there happened to be a Chevy on the side of the road, he would point it out. I mean, real quick, like, "Hey, you see that Chevy? I told you they're no good. I told you they're no good." And I'm thinking, Dad, there were two Fords back there. You know, but the truth is, he didn't see them. I mean,
wow.
He really didn't see them, because that's not what he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He was looking for the things that supported his bias. So confirmation bias, you could say.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned about the reticular activation system. And then that, I thought, I'm going to be intentional about what I look for and how I let it dictate my life and my day.
How can a listener or a viewer who'll be watching, how can they take your main thing and apply it right now, today, or tomorrow? What's an action step they can take?
Take a moment, slow down. Life is crazy busy for most everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And basically just ask yourself, what do I want out of today? What do I want out of this life? And how am I going to get there? Is the first step, I do believe. And realize that listening to the negative comments or the negative thoughts that flow through your mind is not the way to get there. So what are the positive things? What would you tell your child? Would you tell your kid, you know what, you had a great performance, but you messed up. You had a great dance recital, but you messed up on whatever step. Or that concert was awesome, that band concert was great, but I heard your reed squeak and your clarinet. No, you would never do that.
You wouldn't.
So if you wouldn't do that to your kid, why would you do that to yourself?
Right.
And so take those steps. Whenever your brain tells you something that's horrible, stop and realize that that's not really you talking. That's that negative voice, but that's not the real Skip. That's not the real Brad. And move forward. Take the lesson, leave the baggage.
There we go. Yeah.
Skip, when we allow the negativity to take over, it reminds me of, and I want to put this in there because I'm a nerdy eye doctor, you know, about there's this condition called Charles-Bonnet syndrome, and it really, whenever I learned about this in optometry school and then actually saw it in practice, it really hit home for me. So you take an individual, take a patient, normally elderly, who's had good vision most of their life, but then for some reason they lose their vision. It could be, glaucoma, macular degeneration, what have you. And when the brain is no longer getting that input, that visual input, it makes up things for that patient to see, quote, see. So they hallucinate. Now, this is not dementia.
Okay.
The person knows that object is not there. And they'll tell you, I see whatever it is. I know it's not there, but I see it.
Wow.
And so a lot of times let's say it's a male. In my experience, it's usually been males, but it will be a car that he really enjoyed as a teenager, his dream car, or a hunter. Their hunters will see that 10-point buck, and that 10-point buck will be in their living room. They'll see it in their living room. And I take that and I think, when the brain is left to make up, when it's not getting that visual input, it's left to make up whatever it wants to fill that void. And we have a choice. I have a choice. If I allow that negative part of my brain to just run wild, it will fill it with negativity. It will fill it with despair and lack of confidence and just a lot of hurt and heartache. But if I put before myself the positives, the lessons, the things to learn, and I'm not talking about like being totally ignorant to that bad things happen in this world.
Right.
Not at all. That happens. But when I look for the positive, when I look for those wonderful things that God has surrounded me with, my outlook changes, and that more and more of those things show up. My brain starts to bring more and more of those things out.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the negativity, the 10-point buck, if that's what I'm focused on, if that's my eureka moment, that's what I'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope to continue to focus on that.
Brad, that's a great place to leave it. I love that principle that you shared with us. I learned something new. Thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us and sharing some of our common growth experiences that we've enjoyed. And it's just been a pleasure. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Skip. It's been a pleasure.
So long for now. Hey, it's Skip. For a final wrap up, I just want to share a reflection on a couple things that stood out to me today in our conversation with Dr. Brad Lane, who is, of course, optometrist, eye doctor, business owner, community leader. Number one, I was struck by how we have the freedom and we have the ownership to change course in life. You heard Brad talking about his initial career path. He stopped going down that path, gave himself permission to change direction, set some goals, went to optometry school, and look where he's going now. In similar fashion, he wrote a book about journaling. He wrote a second book. Brad is very purposeful, and not only big picture things like writing a book or a career, but just how he approaches every single day. Did you hear the careful way that he orders his day, how he begins his day, how he decides what's going to be good for that day, and how to make that happen, and even how he ends each day? I'm very, very impressed and inspired by that. And last but not least, I love how Brad explained when we have a goal or we have a vision or we have a direction that we're pursuing, it's very, very important for us to lock on to the things that are valuable, appreciable, good, worthy, beautiful, and useful along that path, and to not let our mind get focused on what we're lacking, And he explained in his own very clear, concise way with science-backed theories why our brains work the way we do and how our minds need to be mastered. Brad's a great living example of that. I hope that these wisdom insights were valuable to you. I can't wait to hear what stood out to you. Share it with me. I love your feedback. Thank you for it, and see you again next time. That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Skip Lineberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons, those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Lineberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.